In this lesson, we'll look at using pseudo-classes to add special effects to text links in our HTML page. If we bring up our default web browser, which in my case is Firefox, and go and look in the Chapter 6 folder and find lesson_01_home, you can see that the links in this file look slightly differently. At some point along the way, we clicked on these links, which are listed here at the bottom of our page as bullet points, but we have not yet clicked on the link guest1@totaltraining.com. The color that we see here is essentially a visual representation of an action. Each of these links have states associated with them. Those states include unvisited, visited, hover, and active. For example, the guest link up here at the top of the page has yet to be visited. No one's clicked on it. But these links to these nebula pages and the image facts within those pages have been clicked. They've been visited. Likewise, right now I'm hovering over these links, but the link color isn't changing. Likewise, when I click on one of these links, they do change color. We see the default red displayed. Well, using pseudo-classes in CSS, we can change the way that these links are presented by modifying the colors you see on these events. Let's take a look at how we do this. In the Project Files folder, locate in Chapter 6 the file style.css and open that file in TextEdit. What we're going to do is scroll down to the bottom of the page, and we're going to add some new CSS rules. And as you can see, we've gotten into the habit of creating comments that explain what we're doing to us, so that when we look at our CSS again later on, we can understand what rules mean quickly. In this case, I'm going to write a quick comment that reads CSS pseudo-classes. And I'll just type the word links so that I know that I'm styling the presentation of links. Now the syntax for defining pseudo-classes that change the appearance of links is quite easy. I'll just write out the syntax and then we'll do a practical example. The syntax reads selector, which we've been doing up through now, followed by a colon and the name of the pseudo-class that's available to us to modify on that selector. We'll see precisely what that means in just a moment. And then the remaining syntax is exactly the same as you've seen before. Property and value. So, how do we put this into practical use? Let's create a pseudo-class for the anchor tag. The anchor tag that we use for creating hyperlinks is simply an A. The pseudo-class that's available to us on the anchor tag is called link, and we can modify the color of the link pseudo-class on the anchor tag by specifying a value for a given property, as we've done before. The other three pseudo-classes that are available to us for modifying links read anchor tag visited, and I'll type an open curly bracket and a closing curly bracket where we'll type our rules in just a moment. And the other two pseudo-classes are A for anchor tag, colon, hover, open curly bracket, close curly bracket, and one more time, A active for when you actually click on the link. Now I'm going to remove my syntax hint, which we wrote to ourselves just a moment ago, because that'll probably generate an error when the page is loaded, because that's not real style sheets, those were just a hint. We could have commented that line out, but we don't need it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify a color for each of these events. For each time someone clicks on a link, someone visits a link, someone hovers over a link, or a link is clicked on to be active, I want a different color displayed. Now in this case, I would like the default link color to be a shade of blue, such as color #5BADFF. I looked this up in Photoshop earlier and thought it looked good. Now let's suppose that I want the link color to look the same, regardless of whether someone has clicked on it or not. Maybe I don't like the fact that a link changes color when someone clicks on it. Well, you don't have to live with that. I'm going to select and copy this line of code into memory and paste it into the visited pseudo class on this anchor tag. And now I want to change the color when someone hovers over and when someone actually clicks on the link. So we'll type in two colors that I looked up earlier and see what they look like in our browser. 323FFF. And I'll type in another color, which I believe is red. Now, if we save our style sheet, every file which is linked to this style sheet will inherit these pseudo classes, which is exactly what we want to happen. And we want to get into the habit of having all of our files linked to style sheets so that changes can be made globally throughout your site without having to hard-code them every single time. Now, if I refresh my HTML file, which we haven't touched at all, we've only modified the linked CSS file. We have not edited in any way lesson_01_home. But if I refresh this file, notice the links now look different. They're a bright shade of blue. And if I click on a link, or even before I do that, if I hover over the link color changes because we specified a different hover color, which is a different shade of blue. If I click on this link and then back up, notice the link stays the same color. And during that 2/100ths of a second, I'm holding my mouse button down so you can see the red that we get when someone clicks on a link real fast. You almost don't see it when you do it because it goes so fast. But now we're using CSS pseudo classes to change the way that the anchor tag behaves.